3 lessons from those 5 years that you think anyone who's starting off right now, whether they are starting in as a coach, in marketing, becoming a founder, whatever it might be, or maybe fresh out of a business school trying to get themselves a job, what are those 3 things that you would want them to really like just write, maybe get it tattooed on their arm and look at it every day?
Well, I think number one is believe in yourself and then act like it. The second is takes hard work. And the third is you've got to build your brand. Whatever it is you're doing, you've got your internal brand to a company, your external brand if you're a solopreneur or whatever, you've got to find a way to set yourself apart.
As you went through that stage when you were talking about like there's this voice in the head which calls us out all the time, right? When we're trying to make any decisions, personal or professional, it keeps telling us, Utkarsh, what if you fail? Utkarsh, what if everything? Utkarsh, you're an imposter. What are you trying to do? How do you really speak to that voice?
Well, I had that voice very consciously. So I was living in Boston and I just decided to become a coach and I was just like failing my way. And I was in the gym. I went to the gym and for whatever reason, I just couldn't take it. And I was just feeling so much pressure. And I went to the corner and started to cry. I was just so like, what will become of me? What will become of me? And then out of nowhere, I channeled the voice of my 90-year-old self, like a grandmother looking down on me, saying, what was she so upset about? You know, she had parents who weren't going to let her starve. She had some money in the bank. She was, building this thing she really wanted to do. What was she so upset about? And that's when I realized that part of what I was so upset about was like being judged. And I just was like, okay, I'm just going to do this thing for 6 months and then we'll see what happens and I'll figure it out after that.
Wow. Thank you. It just, and I'm being very honest and open here, it just made the journey very real for me, for myself and for what you're sharing, Alisa. And thank you for this space and vulnerability. This idea of being judged and how things should shape up, the shoulds and the woulds and the coulds that we do on our own. But having this 90-year-old self come back to you, it has to take a lot of inner work for one to reach there, because I feel like it does not naturally just pop up. So do you think what helped you have that conversation in the gym that day?
It takes a lot of inner work. I know that when I was like in 6th grade, I used to have out-of-body experiences. It was hard to explain. I was actually in a play in 6th grade, and I remember thinking like, hope I don't have an out-of-body experience while I'm on stage, And so I think that I've always been attuned to that kind of thing and to sort of maybe something that's a little spiritual or something that's like visualization. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if it takes inner work, but I guess I come back to part of, we talked about values. One of my values is personal growth and always has been. And so the idea of being a seeker, the idea of growing, the idea of, pushing myself and learning about myself has always been paramount to me.
Powerful. I think what I'm gaining, and hopefully the listeners will understand the nuance of what you're saying, is that at the core of everything, it might on the outside seem how life's taking like a roller coaster journey, going left, right, center, up and down. But at the core, when you have these values that you can go back to, which in the moment might not seem clear, but as you look at them in hindsight and retrospect, as Steve Jobs used to say, you could connect the dots backwards. And I think what you're saying about connection, about personal growth, about excellence, the truth, the seeker, it just beautifully comes to being the way it is coming. So thank you for all the sharing.
You're welcome. There's also something there about time. So as I was telling you about my 90-year-old self, I was remembering. So first of all, I remembered being in the gym and crying in the corner. And I remembered my 90-year-old self. And that was, 20 years ago. So it's really important for all of us to remember that time goes by, whether you do something about it or you don't. Whether you have the same year over and over and over again and 10 or 20 years go by, or whether you're committed to growing and having a different year. But one way or the other, that 90-year-old self is coming for you. And there's a way in which it's like very supportive to see that. And there's also like a reckoning. Like, I hope that you did the thing that you said was important to you.
Powerful. Everyone, I got to reiterate this. The 90-year-old is coming for you. How do you want to show up? It's again, comes back to that switch on, switch off. It's a button. If you make that decision of changing 2024, the 25, the 23, the 27. Like we could talk about these. I see posts on social media. 90 days left to the end of the year. What are you doing about it? You choose to change this year or maybe the next or the week after or year after, but you got to choose and do the hard work. Let's go back to the journey. Now you're in this space where the 90-year-old is coming back and talking to you, and you're starting something of your own. At any stage when you start something new, it's just overwhelming. Like I can almost like sense my heart rate going up. So how was it like? What evolved during that period that helped you be where you are right now?
I mean, I just hustled. First of all, I thought, I'm going to freaking do this. I'm just going to do it. And I remember I had a friend, Susan, and she was talking to somebody about how Alyssa's going to become a coach. And that person said, oh, that's a pretty competitive space. And she said, you don't know Alisa. That's how I felt. I'm very determined. And I hustled every day for 5 years. I didn't take a calm breath for 5 years, networking and figuring out who I was going to coach and what my space was going to be. I just put a lot of hard work in.
Wow. If you were to like now, and I love the number 3, so extract like 3 lessons from those 5 years that you think anyone who's starting off right now, whether they are starting in as a coach, in marketing, becoming a founder, whatever it might be, or maybe fresh out of a business school trying to get themselves a job. What are those 3 things that you would want them to really like just write, maybe get it tattooed on their arm and look at it every day?
Well, I think number 1 is believe in yourself and then act like it. The second is takes hard work. And the third is you've got to build your brand. Whatever it is you're doing, you've got your internal brand to a company, your external brand if you're a solopreneur or whatever. You've got to find a way to set yourself apart.
So believe in yourself and then act accordingly. Hard work there's no replacement to hard work, and building a brand. These are all powerful. I'm just taking a moment to look at them and see. Thank you for watching this clip. If this was of value, then you would love this full podcast episode with the guest that you just saw. I'm just putting this link somewhere left or right of me that you should just click on and watch the full episode. We talk about deep ideas, insights about life, leadership, you as an individual, and you as a professional in this beautiful yet so chaotic world of ours.